All right, folks, video 2 of 3, GDX. I prefer trading GLD if I wanted to trade gold. If you're looking to trade the GDX, it's a good trading ticker. It moves a lot, and the options are fairly liquid. I've done spreads in it, so I get it. I think the target of this dip should have been 35, but I don't know that they can get there. So anything below 35.50 is a base I can go long. But having said that, anything above 37 is not going to be difficult. So unless you expect, 1, the stock market to make a higher high, and 2, gold to be also in favor, I think this one drifts lower towards 34. One can argue that it has a target it's seeking, which is $6 above, and it met it almost perfectly. So the other statement is, are they breaking out from here? And if they are, much higher prices. So if you're an investor because of that breakout, I see it. I can't argue with that. But if you're not and you want that, I would wait for a better clue that they're not drifting down to 34. I think anything below 35 would be a better entry for me. It's a good trading ticker. Whatever position you take, long or short, if you put good stops as a trader, then it's an opportunity. I mean, who's to say you shouldn't take it? The GE, the conundrum continues. Look at the sales, and because the stock has been cut up so many times, people think, oh, but Nick, look, you can't short it. It's in an all-time high. All right, let's check this out. What? It isn't? This is the 2008 debacle? Yes. And furthermore, this stock is not what it says it is. What does that mean? This stock is $21, but they reverse split it 8-1 to look fancy. It's a $21 stock. Remember when GE went to single digits and they said, it doesn't look good for GE. Let's cut up the company, sell the assets, and then reverse split the stock so we can look fancy. I would not start longs here. Show me why do I expect growth in GE. So study the company. If you think there's growth in the future that warrants beating all of these, the 2008 high, the 03, 04, whatever high was there, show me why it deserves. Now, granted, this is a completely different company, a much smaller company, which makes my point. Okay. Right, Eddie. Yeah, you can put as much makeup as you want on that end phase quarter. It was, I'm gonna say it, cover your ears if you have virgin ears. It was a shit quarter, any which way you slice it, and the stock rallies. Okay. Okay. Trading wise, GE tradable. If you twist my arm, I would sell a call. In fact, I am short a call. It's making money, but it's way out in time. I got tired of waiting on puts. But I would buy a put or a put spread. However, it's acting irrationally. And I don't want to fight. You know how they say don't argue with stupid? Yeah, I'm not going to argue with stupid. They love it. Let them take it. And then let them get stuck in it wherever they get stuck in it. I can short it and not wait for a drop. So I'll stay in my short calls for now. I think it has earnings coming. Nope. It just reported. Never mind. Maybe I'll renew my calls. Sold. Sold calls as short. Gilead. We talked about long Gilead down here in this box. I remember discussing it. I said, if you believe in the company, it's falling into a huge support, take a long. Up here, I would say the opposite. They are selling rallies, buying dips, and they're going into a prior huge, like coming here is one thing. And going through here is something else. But that is the biotech thing and healthcare thing. 11 days until earnings. So let's say there's no earnings. And you say, okay, they're buying dips. All right. So that's what they've been doing. So why not do it again? Which means what? Buy the dip. If you're not long, wait. You missed it. You missed the easy. But if it could go to here. Yeah, it can. But it's going to have to go without you. You missed it. GLW. That was one of my things to short. It's been on my short list and I didn't act on it, and now I missed the easy mark, but I think it still has a lot to fall. This is 2 days until earnings. This is Don't short it because this is like end phase. Business is questionable with regards to sales growth, although not as bad. And Corning, I think, is much bigger and older. So, not. How about I give it a nope, and not an obvious point of entry. It is shortable. If you twist my arm, I would sell a call, buy a put. Okay, but 2 days until earnings, not going to do anything with it. I just wouldn't go long. Google. Okay, let's turn off everything. So that was on my short list as well. Not here though, because this is one of the best companies on the planet, and they delivered an amazing report, the complete mirror image of this crappy stock end phase. This one falls end phase rally. These two are once again every earnings season. I have one or two stocks that are picture perfect to prove to people that the reaction to the earnings is nothing about income statement. Everybody says, "Ooh, they're going to do well." It doesn't. The fact that you tell me they're going to do well is a door for a whole lesson, and you still won't learn it. It is like the most difficult concept to get across. Google's report was amazing. It's about expectations. Okay, you cannot get a better P&L than Google. In fact, Google has the best cash situation. The debt, the balance sheet is better than Microsoft. Apple has the worst. We can discuss it. Google is the best. Microsoft is in the middle. Okay. I think Amazon ranks between Microsoft and Apple. I'll have to double check that. All right. So what do I do with it now? If I'm looking to invest in Google, I would sell puts to buy shares at the end of the year. This way I create cash right now. I take the cash and I invest in a call position of sorts. It can be complicated. It can be simple. Reach out and we can do one of these. I'm not going to buy shares. And if I do, I would only buy maybe 10 to 20% allotment as an investor. As a trader, they just reported, which makes them easier to trade this week because the rest are going to report this week. So we have Apple to come up next, Amazon, Meta. So it's going to be volatile. This one will move in sympathy, but I don't know which way, up or down. So what you can do is put a box around the earnings reaction. Usually earnings reaction, there it is. The earnings reaction boxes are pure risk appetite gauge. Like headline breaks out, they show you the best case, they show you the worst case, and sometimes it's large, and it's a gift. So they gave us one back last May, and they gave us another one this earnings season, and they lost the intersection. That's pretty important. What does that mean? The whole knee-jerk reaction is above us now. So that's a problem. That's why I think it's easier to drift lower. I would sell a credit put spread in Google to catch this falling knife. It is tradable for sure. So as a trade, there's plenty to do. You just need to reach out. At the money puts, well, it's the same thing, Lou. The question is if I wanted to sell a put in a stock. If you sell it at the money, you collect a lot of premium, which would make the break-even point the same as selling one out of the money, well below. But you don't stand a chance of assignment, so it depends on your portfolio. If you have enough cash to cover it, then at the money would be fine. But I don't usually sell at the money puts. I go to a place that's attractive, I sell with confidence, and then I never look at it again. All right, so Honeywell, great company, old company, well established. I buy dips in Honeywell if I was an investor. This is a reasonable area to start. Nobody asked me about it. Oh, it is on my list to watch. I don't remember it. It is falling into a good support zone. So if somebody bought the dip, I get it. Now the problem is that you have a lot of resistance above. So I wouldn't buy calls. I would have bought shares or sold puts or a combination of selling puts to buy calls as a replacement to owning stock, like that strategy. But I wouldn't buy calls and hope for the best. Trading wise, lines to look at 208 to 209 should be very difficult. If it gets to 213, I think the sellers would accelerate. There is a chance Don't take it as a forecast. That the bounce failed is not going to be able to take out this. There is a chance of triggering something like this. Okay, so and if that happens, at risk will be much more than the arrow I'm drawing. Okay, so my line, just like before, I said I don't trade diagonal trends. I trade these. So that is a possible trend, a path, possible, not a forecast. I'm giving you this so that you can see the holy crap moment. This might happen. I think there's a lot of resistance above. That's the problem, technically. Okay, Intel, the loser, literally. I'm not cussing it out. This is what happened. Everybody won except Intel. So people, you cannot believe how many requests for Intel I got when it spiked above 36. Everybody's interested. When it fell to 30, no one is interested. So this is a good solid base for Intel. I think it's so bad. The downside from here is limited compared to, say, NVIDIA, because even though NVIDIA is awesome, P&L, this one has been shaken out so many times that whoever is left long Intel is not a weak hand. Okay, it's still a beast. They just need better decisions. So with earnings in 4 days, I don't know if I would go all in. If I was an investor in Intel, I would take a partial position. Maybe this is the quarter where they say, we finally figured it out, we're catching up, and here's our plan. Intel will go to 41. But if they continue to giving you turds, it goes to 23, and that's where I would double my position. So my plan as an investor would take half position now, maybe even sell puts into the earnings. They'll be very hot. And if I get assigned at a lower price, half of a position, that's totally okay, even if it goes red, because my plan is to double down whenever it gets cut in half or whatever. Double down, then you'd be in a solid company. There are only 3 companies that deliver brains to this world, and this is one of them. In fact, this was the biggest one and the leader, and now it's trying to struggle to maintain pace. That's my take. We'll deal with it before the earnings. JP Morgan, I am short. I'm staying short. My position now went back to red. It was green, green, red, green, super green, and now red again. Let's see what happens. They closed this interest area, first one. The second one is harder. So I think if it pops to 214, it's shortable if I'm not short from a chart perspective. We'll see how it plays out. I'm not adding to my position. Okay, I may call it quits when I lose enough money, but I do have room to add, but I haven't added. KHC, super strong buyer at 32.50-ish. Super strong seller above 34. It may get to 34 or 35, the 34.50, but I would exit there as a trade. As an investment, I don't know what to say. Boring P&L, boring company. I mean, if you like that kind of investment, that's fine. Earnings in 3 days. This is a target that I don't think they erased the potential of. So maybe it flashes low, below 30 on earnings, and then you buy it then. KKR. Okay. The world is beautiful. I would, be tempted to short it, but not knowing anything about it. I don't, and it's in open air. I don't have a reference point. So technically, if it rallies to up here, tell me when the rising wedge gets to be pretty sharp, it's shortable. If you're looking to go long, why have you waited so long? You missed it. Oh, and the earnings are in 3 days. Awesome. Okay, so maybe you trade BX off of this one. I would imagine they move the same way. KRE. I can't stand it. I'm short. I was super green, and now I'm red. Not super red, red. I own puts. I will reassess. This is going into a prior fail that was massive. So here's the story. Here's why I'm pissed off. Last year, the rhetoric from all the experts and the government was that we have failing banks. The regional banks are failing. That's why we had a financial crisis. We had a financial crisis in the KRE last year. And now they're telling us on a week when the markets had its roughest, this is having its best. Okay, so this is a coordinated efforts from the media to tell you this rotation thing, and this is leading the rotation thing. So the small caps have been crap for 3 years. Now they wake up. The KRE is coming back to life from we're out of business to, hey, we're the best. Do your homework. How can this happen? I'm short half of a position. I can double my position. I haven't. It's time to decide this week what to do with it. So I'll convey my actions on my own. I did give instructions that I would exit at a 35% loss, but since I didn't go full position, and I don't remember if I'm at 35% or not, at one point I was up 30%, so we'll see how that plays out. Short now, if I wasn't short, I would start a short, yes. If I wasn't short, I would start a short. How? I can sell a call or a call spread, or I can buy a put or a put spread, or a combination of both. I wouldn't go all in though. Look how unreasonable it's acting. Whoa. Jesus. Okay. So they must have said they reinvented powder. I don't know what that is. It's in an all-time high situation. Are you asking me to go long? In that case, I would tell you why now. Then this is not an obvious point of entry. This is a target. If you say, let's see, I'll tell you if it is a target. Point A to point B, you consolidate, and then you break out of the consolidation. This is the exact target of that. Actually, it is the exact target, like to the penny. So not for me. If you're going along now, this is where you exit from a trading perspective. Buy the dip into what? 480? It'll never get there. Okay. So you go long and I go short, and let's see who's making more money in a year. This here is not an obvious point of entry. I'm not going to short it. It's in open air. It's a great company. We might be headed to war everywhere in the world at this pace. I don't know what that is. What is this? Imaging and nuclear medicine. Okay. This is like LMT. LMT is up here. This one got up here. No proxy. ABC move. Let's see if I can prove to you how technicals work. Nope. Consolidate. You break out of the consolidation. Pretty darn close. Okay. So not an obvious point of entry. These do not offer good support. Maybe you have interim support at 106, at 96, but the closer you get to the base, the better to start along. Pretty good P&L. Oh, and earnings in 3 days. Maybe they pre-announced. I don't know. LULU. See, I would sell LNTH to buy LULU if I was a trader. So here's a company that has a pretty good P&L, good following, although sales fell pretty harsh. I might be long via a sold put down in, yes, I am. This is my long. So if LULU falls another 20%, maybe I lose money, maybe. My long is inside of the pandemic bottom. So we took a long on the last dip from earnings. Earnings are in 39 days. So I'm comfortable being short a put spread down here for now. If I'm going long LULU, I would sell a put spread or a put to own shares. It's not very liquid, the options, so be careful. If I'm long LULU shares, I waited too long to panic out. If I wanted to go long, I would buy 20, 30, 40% of the shares. And if it falls below 180, I would add the second set as an investment. LUV, so I don't understand. They just changed their policy, and now they're going to have assigned seating policy. I can't stand this airline. It used to be the only one I flew, and with this new pricing model that they have where you have to, like, the same seat costs different, it's weird. I feel like I'm auctioning and it's like, no, I'd rather pay an extra $100, maybe. It's not even an extra money. So now, and fly in a traditional seat versus going with any of these fools like Frontier, Southwest, and the yellow one, whatever that's called, I forget now. They tell you, oh, $40 to get into the ticket, and by the time you're done and pay for air and the airspace you're going to occupy over the seat, you're at the same price as the other ones. So what's the point? In fact, check this out. This weekend, I can fly Southwest, not this weekend, this coming month, I have a trip to Vegas. And I can drive for 4 hours and get to Vegas. It will cost about $110 in gas each way. And is it? Yeah, something like that. Depends on how I drive. Or I can fly Southwest for $520. Or I can fly private for $690. I can hop on a JSX for $690 private, both ways, with 2 check-in bags and no wait time. Yeah, I'm not flying Southwest. So anyway, P&L wise, pretty good. This company was built running lean. That was the concept, right? The No Frills airline. So from that perspective, I respect them. 29 plus gets exciting technically. Maybe it goes to 32. The closer it gets to 33, I would be out. You do have support, but if like it came to my target, this is my target. It fell into it and bounced off of it. So if it loses that, it might retest here. So it's not a bad place to be as an investor. You have a huge seller, a huge buyer. I think they're stuck here between 34 and 24 for a long time. If they pay you dividends, that's fine. Check out the forecast on LVS. Was this perfect? Lost support. Whoop, opens a trap door. Next target. Another interim target for one pattern. That is the scariest target. So I think this is the most realistic one. Strong support zone from this cluster from 2022. But be careful. Okay. Investors that started longs here, hopefully they left room to add later. So if I bought long somewhere, say July 1st or late June or mid-June, I don't add here. MasterCard, I would be okay with MasterCard. Great P&Ls, no doubt. Earnings in 3 days. Am I short Visa? Why do I think I'm short Visa? Maybe I was short Visa some time. I want to say I'm short Visa for some reason. Let me go to Visa for a second. No, I wouldn't be short Visa. Okay, so they do have support and they can bounce, but they have earnings in 3 days. So maybe Visa is a better bet. Yeah, Visa just reported. I remember something with Visa. Maybe I sold puts. MasterCard can get to 456 or 460. It can. So if you're they sometimes influence the XLF too. So if you have trades in the XLF, you need to pay attention to those. But good solid support below, huge resistance above. So I would say it's stuck between 420 and 460, 450. It can get to 460, but that would be an exit point for me. MobileEye. Is MobileEye, thank you for that, Brad. If MobileEye is connected to CrowdStrike, maybe. No, wait, that's like an eyeball thing, so it's self-driving. 4 days from now, there'll be earnings. Look at this Q1 2024. Ugh. What? Your sales went from 640 to 240? Whoa. And you got nothing but losses? Was that a one-off? And then you lost this one? Losing this says you're going to single digits. So the problem with MobileEye now, it's lower than ever before. You need to study the company to make sure that you're still on board with what they do and that it's viable, okay? Technically, you have no help from the chart. In fact, the chart says it is going lower towards 15 and 14, at least. And earnings in 4 days, they might jump back up to 34. I don't know what they're going to say, but that is a difficult investment. MELI, not a difficult investment. Look at this P&L, and it's going into earnings. So let's zoom out. Big picture. I'd like it better the closer it is to 1440. And the opportunity above is if they do crack into a new high, they go to 2100. They are buying dips. So let's copy prior. This one, okay, this looks good. Why did I choose this one? They were dipping and then they bounced before the earnings. They were dipping and then they bounced before the earnings. Maybe this is a good proxy. That's pretty close. So maybe they do that. I mean, it's possible. How about this? This might be better. So buy the dip. This says buy the dip. Meta. Oh my gosh, what is this? What a messy chart. Okay, so this, folks, is my least favorite of all the mega caps, just because I recently found out, I have proof positive that it is a fraud. The company's a sham. No doubt in my mind. First of all, the metrics I always thought were wishy-washy. I had 2 accounts and I didn't use either, and they probably counted me as 2 users. Now I do use 1. Everything I bought off of Meta platform ads has been fraudulent. Out and out fraudulent. If you, for example, I bought a microphone that's made by a company called Shure. They make microphones for Hollywood. And if you bought it off of Meta, you would get one that's fake. And they let them sell it. I bought a briefcase, it was fake. I bought shoes, they were fake. I bought a jacket, it looks nothing like the ad. So I keep trying and I stopped. But here's the one kicker. I do pay for ads for social media. And on Instagram, oddly enough, somebody just mentioned Instagram. So you can say, here's my budget, $3 a day for this video or something, and they'll push it and they'll give you metrics. 2 weeks ago, I was in a room with someone. They were looking at my metrics. So there were 2 people in there. It's not just my word. They flashed a metric that is no longer available because I immediately voiced my concern on it. I had an ad. I had pushed a video that got 180,000 views or 170,000 views. And just for a second, there was a bar chart that showed the source. And there was one city that had 99% of the traffic. And the city was in India. I don't remember the name of the city. It was long. It had a K and an H, and it was to the right of Mumbai. And it was all the traffic from one city in India. So you determine what you want. I will never give them another nickel worth of advertising. It is a fraud. And if that comes out, I'm sure I'm not the only one. I don't know what goes on with that. Meanwhile, it is an amazing P&L. Just amazing P&L. And they are looking to reinvent the world by doing the Metasphere. So I need an update. Maybe you guys know. What's going on there? When will that be available? How much money are they spending? And what happens to the P&L when they stop spending on it? Will it be awesome? So what am I saying? Don't short it because Nick said it's a fraud. But be careful. One day that news may come out. Technically here, they're selling rallies. So it could get to 450 or 420. It has earnings in 3 days. Or conversely, it could be at 525. I don't know. If it gets to 525, it's an exit point for me. If it gets to 495, technically it's an exit point, but it's an attractive point. So if I'm long here and it gets to 495, I will take out most of my position and leave runners to get to 525. So from a technical perspective, they lost the neckline up here. The target, they met Nick's target. In fact, they're at Nick's target. This is the official target. They met it to the penny. So that is explained. Now, if the rally triggers another dip, it could be at 395 down to here. That is where I would get long. Anywhere below 430, really attractive. So I'm going to put an alert for myself here and one here for sure, technically speaking. What, Nick, you're going to invest in the company? No. I trade. I don't invest anymore. I purely trade. That was a long detour, but I thought you should know. Yeah, Zuckerberg isn't completely above board. No, of course not. And now he's had an interview where he said he kind of likes Trump. I'm like, what? Did I hear this correctly? It must be a deep fake. Okay, this is the guy that financed the other guy's election last time, $200 million or whatever it was. Anyway, MHO, who is this? 2 days away from earnings. Oh, it's like a home builder, maybe? That is not for me. This is not shortable, but it's not for me. 2 days from earnings. I don't know what your question is. To go long? Hell no. Not going into the earnings. If it goes, I have a target of 140 and a target of 129. Those are attractive points of entry. 3M. You want to go long now on MHO? Okay. Have at it. What's your conviction? Let me see. Good earnings. Okay, so this is old. This reaction was, whoa. This is another one. Like, what the hell? What did they say? Someone please tell me what they said. If I was long the stock, I couldn't have hit the sell button fast enough. Okay. 130 is an exit point for me if I was long. And if somebody's going long here, please explain to me why. I'm just asking. And if you're asking me to go long, not for a second would I ever consider chasing a stock up 30%, unless I'm a momentum trader. And if you don't know if you are a momentum trader, ask yourself, have you ever traded in and out of a stock in one day? No? Then you are not a momentum trader. Okay, so this is not for me. Easy answer. Is this marathon? No. I don't know what that is. It looks like it's breaking out, right? It's just trading in an ascending channel. Buy the dip mode. This is not where I would buy it. Buy the dip means you just emulate a prior path. Just buy the dip. If you want to be long here, that's fine. If you want a better entry point, I would just wait for a better entry point. Earnings in 9 days, that might sway you. Okay, Merck. The range is tightening more and more, so we could be here. And earnings in 2 days. Tough call. So you have a range, clearly. You have a lot of buyers below 123 and a lot of sellers above 132. If you take out 132, I think you get to 140 or 142. If you lose 123-ish, you might end up at 115. I would like an entry in 115. Buying the dip is working. So I don't know if it's an obvious entry point here. See here, you can see the sellers, 131, buyers, 121, 122. Marvel, I'm long Marvel. I shared it with you via a credit put spread on a dip. It wasn't a perfect entry. The stock continued falling, but the trade is okay, I think. Anyway, this pattern is bullish. It might get to 68. It might struggle to 70, and that would be an exit point. If it doesn't recover 69, it's probably going to stay here or drift lower towards 61. So make sure your positions can withstand that. There's no earnings coming. I forgot where my credit put spread was, to be honest. I think I said at it that if I get assigned, I'll just take shares. I won't defend it. Microsoft. Great company, lost a head and shoulder, lost a neckline. So the bears made a mistake with this. But Microsoft bulls said, we don't care. They might be right because look at where they're at. Look at where they're failing. That's a giant question mark for me. Earnings in 2 days. So if Microsoft cannot be at 445, I think it's going to 405 or 400, maybe even 398. What? Hey, I don't make the rules. My target would be this deep. The market's target would be this deep. And I'm not counting that little mistake by the bears. I'm not counting that at all. Okay, so in theory, the neckline is at 425 and the head is that big. So $43. So $86 would be the target. 385, 380. But there's no way this stock is going there if we're not having a correction in the market. And if we're not having a correction in the market, this one will be at 452 before there. So the question is, this week, is Microsoft at 455 or at 395? So buy a straddle? I don't think so. They're expensive. So you can buy a double straddle, which is basically buying a diagonal call and a diagonal put, or you can sell the range and see if you can make money that way. Anyway, we have a lot of catalysts. We have mega caps reporting, and we have the Fed saying what they want to say. As an investor, you can own the stock forever. I wouldn't add. Micron, yes! So I was right, but I lost money, so I walked away from it. Because I tried shorting. Actually, I did not lose money. I take that back. I was losing, and then one day it had a huge dip, and I profited to where I was flat, and I left a put that ended up dying for a loss, but the put was completely financed by that one other put I bought. Anyway, this has been a bane of mine, the logic. The P&L is horrific, and the stock would not stop rallying. In fact, at one point, it was rallying stronger than NVIDIA. I was like, this is bullshit. Whoops, excuse me. This is bullcrap. So on an annual basis, their sales are down 40%. I give them credit for the last 2 quarters. If they show me a third quarter like that, I will be nicer. And more importantly, I need to see the margin. Right now, this is the first quarter where their actual gross margin is not negative. A negative gross margin is just a deal killer for me. Deal breaker. So this one has a bounce coming to 125. Okay? And you can reshort it there. If the next quarter is bad. So anything above 122 is a struggle. Target 2 is 137. I'll say it here. T2. If you lose last week's low, you end up at 90. One second here. I'm not going to go there. I don't want to look at it. It's just an annoying stock. Netflix. This is a company that made a turn. Management is very confident. The guy is not my favorite, but dang, the guy is confident and competent. Good things, I'm saying. So look at this P&L. Solid. So he focused. He was able to shift Wall Street's focus from number of users signed up, first from the US to the abroad, and then completely off that and said, start judging me on my financial performance. And they said, okay, we will. And he's delivering. So among all the streaming platforms, and I have all of them, this is the best one. And it's crap. Like, there are some things they can improve, but it's the best one by far. It rarely breaks down, and it almost always acts the way it's supposed to act as far as functionality. And their content is okay, and it's broad. That's what it is. They have everything for everybody. So it's a matter of finding entry spots for an investment. This is your box that you're going to have to trade inside of. That's the earnings reaction box. And I'll put it on top so it gets out of the way. So same as earlier we mentioned, I don't go long in the upper third. I don't go short in the lower third. So if you want to trade it inside that, you can sell an iron condor, maybe sell a strangle if you want. If I have shares, I would sell calls against my shares out at the upper ends of that box to create my own dividends. If I'm looking to go long, I would sell a put and buy shares. Buy at the money calls on dips. So a lot you can do. Look at this earnings reaction. And once they got out of it, they used it as support, but now they're back into it. So these boxes tell you a lot. Nike, I would own shares as an investment. I think I wanted to sell puts when it fell, but there was not enough premium. It's like the market didn't think it was going to go much lower than that. Shame that a company that good is being rejected that bad. Listen to this guy. What would he do with Nike down here? Okay, what would this guy do? Would he buy here or would he buy here? Okay, he wouldn't buy here. He would buy when everybody's scared out of their mind. Yeah, what would Buffett do? WWBD. So if somebody's bought shares here, I'm okay. Just leave room to add a little more if the market corrects. I mean, this is pandemic levels. Okay. If I sold a put, this is on one of these dips, I sold January puts for us and they worked out fine. This time I couldn't find any. ServiceNow, I think they reported last week, I believe. Yes, they did. Okay, P&L, and it's out in open air. So again, if you're a momentum trader, go for it. If you're now feeling comfortable, you can own it for an investment. I don't think you should be rushing into it. And I think you should wait for a dip. You waited this long. Why not wait a little longer? NRG, it was one of my shorts, but I never pulled the trigger. And man, do I regret it. So these are the potential paths if they trigger. The trigger is what? I think 71, 72, 71. If you lose 71, I think you get to 62. And I think you have sellers. Into 79 or 80. Earnings in 11 days. We shall see. I know the concept of it is exciting, but this P&L does not deserve this is my beef. I always compare NVIDIA. Okay, so NVIDIA actually quadrupled its bottom line. This one is actually not doing that yet. There's just talks of thesis. Somebody has an idea that out there in time, this is what's going to happen. Wait, what was that? Yeah, the forecast. So even the forecast, I'm looking at the forecast. Where's the excitement? Yeah, anyway, study the company. If I'm not long this company, I should know that I should take half of a position because you might be able to buy, I don't know, 25% more shares with the same amount of money. And I thought it was a short up top. I didn't short it. It's still a short. This one could end up being much, much lower. Earnings in 16 days. Technically, you have a lot of support. So you would need probably a catalyst to get to that target I'm talking about. So they're selling rallies. And if you lose 12, I think you end up at 11 or low 11s. That's the short-term comment. NVIDIA, they're selling rallies in NVIDIA. So suddenly now NVIDIA is crap. By the way, these are my targets. And it overshot my target. And now it filled this one. This is old, but it's in here. So this orange, so the $100 mark on NVIDIA was a target of mine if it had lost 118. When? Back here. Okay, that's when I drew this line. They came and lost it for a second. I remember that day. And then boing, and then made a higher high, or pushed higher, much higher. They came and defended it again when? July 17th. Okay, so whether you want to call this a head and shoulders or not, 118 is definitely a neckline. So I'm going to give you two numbers to really pay attention to. 118 and 126. It's shortable at 126, and 118 you need to come up again above it. Otherwise, you're probably going to the 100 area. And if you get to 100, you can get to 98. So look at this P&L. Show me which stock, at least in the mega caps, that has a P&L like this. You won't find it. You can probably not find it through anything above 50 billion in market cap. Probably nobody has this P&L. I've never seen a P&L like this. A change so drastic from quarter one to where your net income is now 14 billion. Your bottom line, net income, 14 billion, where a year prior, your sales were 7 billion. Your net income is double your sales. That is, and the chart looks like this. And then the other one, NRG, the stock looks like you saw. It just logic. Okay, so best company on the planet is in the bear's hands. Does it report soon? 31 days. NVO, you could go long against this with an immediate stop. Actually, your stop is, yeah, if it goes lower than last week on a closing basis, you should get out. Otherwise, you can get to 135. You do have support below. So if you invested here, okay, hopefully you left room to add, and I would add down in this area. I wouldn't add anywhere until they really shock you. Good P&L, whatever this company is. Is this the diet shot? 133 should be difficult, but it can be the target to 135. It's tradable, let me put it this way, and investable. NVRI, what's your question? Are you in this room? Tell me what your question is here. Do you want to go long? Not for me. What is this? Industrial services and engineering product. Okay, not for me. Earnings are in 4 days. The industrials ran like you wouldn't believe. Here's the XLI. On a shorter term basis, it looks like it. So it looks like a breakout. It might have more upside. I don't know enough about the company. The resistance is too old to matter much, but it's got a lot of resistance and earnings in 4 days. So I can't answer whether you should stay long or not. It's in a breakout mode going into a huge pivotal statement. NXPI, again, decent P&L. Like NVIDIA, lost an important line, 262, 263. In theory, they could be headed to 232, 233 to 230. That's the target. So you need to get back to 265 to try and avert that. 265 is a problem area. What is this now? They have retraced. Oh, look at that. So these three lines, this is 50% of the retracement. And these three lines combined are the golden zone, the Fibonacci golden zone. They're holding the 61.8, that one. They need to hold it. If they lose 245, they're probably going to 230, plus or minus a buck or two. A lot of sellers above. NXPI. I guess it's tradable. I should have sold a put on it if it's liquid. I don't remember trading NXPI recently, so I'll check it out. Whoops. Yeah. On semi reports on Monday before the market opens. Nobody asked me about it. So I would tell you what to do with it, but technically it's going to 73 or 76 technically. If you lose 67, you're going to 60. So maybe you buy the dip if it falls on earnings, and that would be solid. And if I had longs, I would exit above 76. Oxy, earnings in 10 days. You know my story with Oxy. I shorted it at the top against the rallies on Buffett. You're not Buffett. You can't trade like Buffett. So he doesn't trade to make money off the stock price. That company, he was trying to put it on his P&L. So if it loses 59 for whatever reason, I don't think it should, but if it does, this thing goes below 54. And if it goes below 54, I don't know how low it goes. That's just the chart talking. The other side of it is it has a lot of support. It's going to take a lot to have it lose everything. So it can fall 6 to 12%, and it would be a buying dip opportunity. And if it rallies into 65, it's an exit mode for me as a trading thing. Paramount, they have good content, an absolute crappy platform. I mean, like crappy. A lot of support in the stock. I thought it was worth a buy. I didn't buy it, but I wrote about it. Maybe I did buy it. I don't remember. For the group, I mean. It looks like this candle is important. So buyers below 10.8 and sellers above 12.2, 12. If you can take out 12, maybe you get the 13. That's an exit point for me from a trading perspective. The P&L is not that great. I wouldn't want to invest in it. Earnings in 11 days. So path. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I remember this one. Why didn't we jump on it? I don't remember why. Automate business processes. Okay, so it's in competition with a Palantir type of a thing. Higher lows, lower highs. Something's about to happen. You have buyers below 11.5, sellers above 12.9. That's your range. Earnings in 40 days. Pfizer, not for me up here. I thought it was a buy the dip in stock for this whole period of time. From here, I think it's easier to get to 29 than it is to get to 34. But earnings in 2 days, you might wake up and it's at 34. And if I'm long, I would exit at 34. If I'm an investor for the super long term and I got in here, I don't even look at it. I say I own Pfizer. Pinterest, I wouldn't touch it. 2 days until earnings. This P&L is not that pretty. Something's going on there. I mean, I'm interested in Pinterest, and every time I click on a link, it just takes me down a rabbit hole that I don't end up how to do this, and I click on it and I end up seeing nothing but how to buy plans on how to do it. Like, I thought you're gonna show me how to do this. What are we doing here? I can shop plans on Amazon. Anyway, it's vulnerable until 34, so it might be headed there. And that is video 2 of 3.